Hey Matthew, how you doing?
Hello Nick, I'm great, thank you so much.
So I've heard a lot about this. This is an interesting new, it's analog, right? Analog synth?
Yeah, absolutely, fully analog synth.
Tell me about it.
So on the surface, this is sort of a basic baseline synthesizer with a sequencer, but once you dig a little deeper into it, there's a ton of great features that makes it really unique. So right now I've got a basic patch running in, so let's go to a sawtooth and then put some filtering in there. So the very cool features in the analog path is that each of the parameters has its own modulator and envelope. So let's say you want to modulate the filter, you just select it, it will turn red, and now I can have an LFO on the frequency. Let's say now you want to put an envelope on the volume of oscillator 2. I select it and do exactly the same. So let's turn the attack to 0, and then I have an attack.
Neat. Right, okay.
So I have only the oscillator 2 at the beginning because I have put an envelope on it, and you can do this on every single parameter. And the modulator goes to audio rate, so you can go really crazy with FM stuff. For example, here, let's put the frequency of the filter to audio rate. So we can really have some very intricate timbre going on with just 2 oscillator and 1 filter. So it's a really complete machine.
So it's like an endless mod matrix for every single parameter,
yeah.
Only for LFOs, right?
And envelope. So each parameter has envelope and LFO, and there is no concept of modulation matrix because each one has its own. So you don't have to bother remembering how you assigned it. You just there's
okay. So can you set the shape of the LFO for each parameter, or is it global?
Each LFO has 5 waveform: sinusoid, triangle here, square and sawtooth, and then sample and hold. So, and each one is really independent to one another. So you can have, they can all be have different timings. They can be synchronized or not. You can really do whatever you want on that.
Oh, that's really interesting. So, I mean, I guess there must be some pretty interesting patches in here. Has it got memory recall?
Yeah, I mean, this one, I guess, if I go to mode note, here there's some sort of kick drums, some sort of hat sound. Here there's maybe a tom or something. And this is an interesting mode because here the keyboard is replaced by patches. And I guess it's a good time to start speaking about the sequencer. You can sequence notes, like classic pattern, but you can also sequence patch. So for example,
so it's got really fast patch change, right?
Yeah, absolutely, instantaneous. So for example, I can just put a 4/4 kick drum in here, and then some hats in here, and then I go back to normal mode where we have our patches, and then I will randomize a few notes in there. So yeah, it's just as easy as a few, in a few minutes you can get something really interesting going on. It's just really spontaneous and straightforward.
That's really good. So what's the oscillator? What's the filter types, and what do we have in there?
Everything is fully discrete, fully custom. So
these are analog.
Absolutely, okay. Yeah. It's inspired from a lot of different things. I created the analog path. Probably 5 years ago, been refining it ever since. But yeah, it's really unique. The oscillator is slightly skewed, so it's a triangle core, slightly skewed. So it has a little difference in terms of frequency contents. The filter is state variable, so you get band pass, low pass, and high pass, and all these parameters.
Right.
it is fully continuous, so you can modulate that as well. You can put an LFO or an envelope on the filter color, so you can have the transient, the attack of your sound with the high pass, and then move to the low pass, so that you have.
So it's that fast. You can move parameters that fast with the
Yeah,
envelopes
it's
as well.
it's really it goes to audio rate, so basically you can really have some very very
Play
fast
some more
changes.
sounds then. We need to hear some more of this. Let's hear what else you've got.
I don't have a lot of patches, but we can do it live. So
is that audio rate mod of the filter?
yeah, we can
Get
clearly
it
hear
talking?
Yeah.
Can you modulate a parameter with more than one modulator at a time?
No, there is only one per parameter, and right now you cannot really you cannot do that. However, there is through zero frequency modulation from oscillator 1 to oscillator 2. So you can modulate oscillator 1 with oscillator 2 fully analog and through zero. And then you can modulate the frequency of oscillator 1 with its own modulator, and then the frequency of oscillator.
So is it LFO and envelope per parameter, or either? So you can have two. You can have up to two sources per parameter.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can have both
right.
the envelope and the modulator, and also you can assign the envelope to the level of the modulator. So yeah, you
that's
can.
neat.
Yeah, you can really go really far away, and so a lot of people use it for all kinds of glitchy, weird sound. It can be it can behave, but it can go really crazy as well.
Sorry, I was interrupting. So let's hear some more sound. Sorry, because I'm just
problem.
fascinated. It's a really interesting concept.
So here I'm really modulating, so it can be more subtle.
And we've got two oscillators. Can you play it duophonically?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a duophonic mode. So let me enable it. So right now there's through zero frequency modulation, so it kind of go a bit crazy.
But it's interesting. It's like that kind of that sync thing that you could do with the oh God, I can't remember what it is. The Odyssey. Yeah. So you could. Yeah. Cool.
So let's talk a little bit more about the sequencer, and this
sure.
is something that is new to MK2 on Mark 1. We can record automation, right? So we can do that. And now we have an automation on the filter, and we can move it up. It will follow the knob, so it's not set in stone. Basically, the automation follows the level of the mid level of the knob, and what will be implemented when it's released in June is high resolution automation. So this is something we probably, at least I personally never seen it on a hardware sequencer. You will be able to record the automation as you play it, so not quantized to the step. Very high resolution.
Okay, yeah.
1024 ppqn actually. So it's really like
that's really interesting.
It's really like a DAW. So
Well, also, can you play the sequencer without any notes, so you can use it as another mod source effectively? So
you could potentially, yeah. So you can, for example, you can remove all the note and just record automation, and then use an outside source to play the note. So, for example, let's record a filter automation, just a filter automation. So right now we can't hear anything, but if I play the note, I can hear the
yeah.
And all the keys of the keyboard and the sequencer are 3D sensitive. So I have the 3 axes, X, Y, and Z, and I can assign
pressure.
it. Yeah, so I can do that, for example. So this is with the Y-axis. It's right now it's to the filter, and the Z-axis is to the level. So I can really do crazy stuff with that. And once we implement the high-resolution automation, you can record those expressive play directly on the sequencer, and we will be able also to edit it directly on the touch strip. So you can take a point of automation and just move it right, left, up, or down. So you really get all you expect from a DAW edition. But
can you access those parameters sort of via CC controls? Or I guess not with the can you access those parameters via MIDI as well? Some of them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, it's total. You can access everything. We've written a very complete API also, so we know that there's some guy some people from our community that are working on a VST that can control the synth completely. So yeah, that's about it. I mentioned yeah, one of the cool features also is morph mode. So what you can do is in morph mode is essentially you can morph between patterns. So what do we? So here I have a crazy weird pattern. And what I can do is morph between the drum pattern you hear here and the one here. So.
Right. Oh wow. Okay.
So it will interpolate every single parameters from one to the other and every single note. So right now it was a little bit crazy because those two patterns weren't really made to work together. But you can get some really interesting result, and if you like what you're hearing, you can save the result of a morph in a new pattern.
Wow, you've thought of everything, haven't you? That's fantastic. So when's this going to be out, and how much is it going to cost?
So Mark II will be available in store probably end of June, and it will go for 840 euros.
Right, okay. So because there's a lot, I guess there's a lot of modulation paths. So that's handled digitally, presumably, all of that stuff.
Sorry?
All the modulation paths and that is all handled digitally. It's all, but the signal is all analog.
So you've got the main processor that handles sequencing. Then you've got an FPGA that handles envelope generation and modulation generation, and it all goes through CVs to control the analog path.
Wow, Matthew, thank you so much. That's really interesting.
Thank you, Nick.